Hey everyone, just wanted to let you know that as I was talking about this Brockhampton Drafts CD, I was working off of a track list and a title that was made by the fans for the thing. So now you know, so everybody can not have a shit fit in the comments over the 5 people who will freak out over that. All right, video now. Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. You're the best. First video of 2018 on the Fantano channel. Guys, I got myself the Brockhampton Saturation box set over here. Comes with a lot of different stuff. Cool little CD booklet. You know, pictures of the group and everything like that. And the Saturation CD itself has, obviously, the 3 saturation discs. It also comes with like a DVD, a bit of a making of sort of thing, which I have not watched yet. And it also comes with a 4th bonus disc, Oversaturated. It's a CD of like demos and drafts and material that did not make it onto the 3 saturation records. And I'm here to talk about that disc right now. I also got a trading card from one of the members. Of one of the members. Mi amo Roberto. I'm here to talk about this Drafts CD because it is some material, and I did want to talk about it a little bit, not give necessarily a formal review, but I did want to discuss it because I do think it is floating out there on the internet. And if you do get a chance to get your hands on this batch of drafts, batch of demos, I highly recommend that you do so. All the Brockhampton fans, all the people who have been sort of casually into Brockhampton thus far. It's called Oversaturated. I might have said that already. It's 22 tracks. It's 1 hour and 19 minutes. So my thoughts on the 22 tracks on this Drafts CD. This is not just a random collection of demos and throwaway tracks, I would say. I mean, to a degree, it is a mix of songs that you guys have heard already. Lamb is on this track, which has been out there floating on the internet. However, even though it did not make it onto the saturation tapes, it made it onto here, and it's actually like a 10-minute version of the song, which actually makes me more interested than some of than the original version that was kind of out on the internet. There are demos of Fight and Sunny and Junkie, Heat and Gold, some of which just sound like kind of roughly mixed, more low-quality versions of the original tracks, like Heat and Gold. Those are prime examples of that. However, Junkie, for example, sounds entirely different, and Fight does as well to a degree. Sounds vastly different from the original track. Sure, there are elements of lyrics and the beats that are still similar, but there are some serious differences to be observed between these tracks and the original cuts. Now, or at least the cuts that made it onto the CD. Moving on from there, the bulk of the material on this thing actually kind of strikes a stylistic balance that isn't that consistent. It pops up here and there on the 3 saturation tapes, but it's very consistent on this thing. And I'm talking about like this interesting fusion of like underground rap music and very indie, very moody, like indie pop and rock. The guitar lines on these drafts and these demos are super prominent, which leads me to believe that maybe guitar plays a pretty strong role in the writing process, but maybe it sort of gets erased and swapped out for other things as the tracks are being developed. But it sounds like, the guitar plays a pretty pivotal role on a lot of these very, again, sad, moody, low-key cuts. I can imagine that they would want to swap a lot of these tracks out in order to keep the energy high on these songs. However, I could imagine a lot of these songs playing over pretty well on Saturation 3. And a lot of them I wouldn't mind hearing in further projects, although I would like to hear maybe a more cleaned up or a grander or a more ambitious version, because to sort of toss one of these songs onto a future project almost nearly unchanged, I think would, at least for me, feel kind of a little redundant. However, there were moments on here where I thought the group was like, I don't know, come through with a moment of serious beauty, like on Band, or was the song Idiot that grabbed my attention too? Yeah, the song Idiot has these powerful and incredible group vocals, which are really dramatic. I caught some more Mac Miller and some more Outkast influences on these cuts too. It's pretty interesting to sort of hear the band, I don't want to say heading in a direction, because obviously I think these tracks weren't exactly crafted to be an album. I think at the end of the day, this is a compilation through and through. But for whatever reason, a lot of these songs kind of strike the same moody indie rap fusion with strong guitar lines and strong guitar chords, very twangy guitar chords hanging in the background. Also, there are a few bangers to be had here and there. The song Melon was certainly an example of that, which has a pretty prominent Merlin feature on there where he really kind of dominates the cut. Overall, I like the beats. I like the grooves. It's clearly not as well mixed or as vibrant or as heavy and as hard-hitting as the most aggressive and the punchiest material off of any of the saturations thus far. So do go into this thing expecting some tracks to be rough around the edges, though there are some songs that kind of as is would sound pretty decent landing on a Brockhampton project, Lamb being one of the better mixed tracks, and some of the songs toward the back end as well. Some cuts like Strum, for example, are pretty short and do sound very unfinished. However, again, given that it's a drafts tape, it's not really a big issue. What really kind of makes this thing are the, again, very moody rap indie fusion highlights, many of which are pretty well written. Even though they aren't the best mixed, even though they don't sound the cleanest, they're still pretty well put together. So just coming out here to remind you guys that this exists. And if you do get the opportunity to get your hands on this oversaturated compilation, this oversaturated project, please do, because you're not going to be disappointed. If you've loved everything Brockhampton has done through the Saturation series, and you're not necessarily averse to hearing a slightly more mellow, melodic, and teary-eyed version of the group that you've loved up until now, then you're probably going to like hearing this. You're going to enjoy hearing this. So there you go. Over here next to my head is another video that you guys can check out. Click on that or click on the link to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Anthony Fantano, oversaturated forever.